Do you know what a spirit animal is, or a totem animal, or even a power animal? And do you know how to connect with them? And would you like to learn how to connect with them? Hello, this is Angelscapes, and I am your host, Nancy Smith. I'm also your guide to soul-powered living. Joining me and myself to explore what an animal spirit guide is, and how you can connect to yours.
Welcome to the Angelscapes podcast, where you're encouraged to uncover and develop a direct connection with your soul's power, wisdom, and spiritual intuition that is ready to blossom. We'll explore new ideas, compelling tips, and real steps to help you learn simple spiritual practices. We're a safe place to learn more about accessing your soul's power with education and spiritual wholeness that could bring more clarity to your life. Now here's your host, a practicing medium, Akashic Records practitioner, spirit artist, coach, and mentor, Dr. Reverend Nancy Smith.
An animal spirit guide brings you balance and healing to your life, brings guidance as well, and it can bring different perspectives to you if you're open to hearing how they will influence you or what they have to show you. They have traveled with you throughout your life. And yes, your pet is one of your power animals, is one of your spirit guides. In this episode, I want to talk to you about animal totems and spirit animals, animal guides, whatever name you want to use. They are part of the web of wisdom available to you right now, and always have been. And nature itself teaches us a lot of things, talks to us about a lot of things, and as above, so below, or as the animals' wisdom speak to us, they're also speaking natural truths or natural law. My experience with my totem or spirit animal started as a tiny little kid. I had dreams about bears all the time. And these bears, they were dancing bears. They were a big group of family of bears. There, one particular bear had a top hat. That was, I think, the daddy bear. I was really little. And he always wanted me to come and dance and be with the family. And I was always scared of them. And bears continued throughout my life to speak to me until finally I realized I needed to have a relationship with them. They were my totem animals, but I didn't realize that till I was much, much older. I remember having one in particular dream. The bear showed up, only this was a white bear that showed up in one of my dreams, and I actually shot and killed her. I think it was a her. And I felt so bad. I felt like I had done something terribly, terribly wrong. But I said, but I've always been afraid of you. I've always been afraid of you. Why are you showing up? And then I began to study shamanism, and I began to journey to my spirit animals. Or in another way, I began to accept and say to my animal guides, I'm ready to hear from you now, and I'm not afraid anymore. So my bears kept showing up. And then one time I went to a shaman for a healing session, and she did some journeying. And just as I was laying down preparing for the journey, I closed my eyes, and I tell you the truth, this big, huge brown bear showed up, and he had the top of his head was all shaved off, and he looked like a monk. And he showed up and he started laughing, and he went into a meditative pose and said, are we ready to work now? And it was hilarious. It was so funny. I couldn't have made that up, except for this, my spirit animal wanted to speak to me and say, I am with you on your journey. I am with you to help you. And we're going to have a little bit of laugh around it. And it was terrific. So on these journeys with these animals, I'll tell you a little bit of how I did it, and you can learn a little bit of how you could do it. As I was introduced to the shamanic journeying of finding a spirit animal, we would lay down, or I was in a group usually, and we would quietly open up to receive our animals. And to receive those animals, we had to go to the underworld, the under-earth. And so we found a tree, or we found any access to the underworld where we would travel down to receive these animals and their wisdom. And we were instructed that as we traveled down to just continue to journey and to observe everything around us. And as you go down to the underworld, it looks just like the upper world. There were swamps, and there was paths, and there was big lakes, and there were flowers, and there was a lot of nature, and it was quite beautiful. And as we journeyed, we were to look for our spirit animal. Many animals would show up, we were told, but the animal that showed up 3 times, it was the power of 3, and the third time we could accept that animal as our totem, as our power animal. And one of the, it was hilarious. I love it when spirit talks to us with humor. One of the women had, it was a duck, and she saw, as she was moving along, there was this duck floating along, and then the duck went away. She said, "Oh, I guess it's not my power animal." And she kept moving on, and then some other animals came in, and then the duck came again. It was kind of like, "Hello," and then it disappeared. And then as she went on again for another few minutes, the duck finally showed up, and it looked like Daffy Duck. It goes, "Hello there, I'm your power animal," and just walked with her on its 2 feet to waving its wings to say, "I'm here with you, and I'm here to help you." Now, the thing with totem animals or power animals is we could talk about Ted Andrews, Steve Farmer, have these amazing books about what animals mean, what their properties are. But each animal has its own talents, gifts, properties. So my friend who had the duck, her properties of what the duck was showing her and helping her to heal in her life was her ability to fly, was her ability to let go and move along with the seasons and to fly through her life, because she was wanting to do a couple things but couldn't let go and couldn't move forward. So the duck was saying, "You have wings. You can move forward with your wings if your feet aren't moving," for instance. So some other power animals, well, let me think here. There's a lot. I've made a list of them, but I'm going to talk to you about my power animals. One is the crows and the raven. Actually, they kind of come together for me. The raven speaks to me individually. When a raven is there for me, I know that something is at hand, something is going to transpire. And the raven speaks from both sides of the veil, from the other side, the spirit side, and also from what's happening here on this side. So when a raven makes a lot of noise and follows me through the woods, I know that there's a message, and I can hear intuitively what the ravens are saying much better than when the crows show up. So crows can show up for me, and I think it's called a murder, in a big groups where they will land in front of me, or I'll be driving and then there'll be many crows hovering over or landing in a field, or they'll fly into the trees wherever I'm living, and they'll just make a lot of noise. When they make a lot of noise, I know that something again is afoot and that energy is moving and that I need to heads up, pay attention, but I don't hear them as well in terms of intuitively knowing what it is, the message that they're bringing. It's more of an energetic message. So those 2 birds working together, I often will look for the raven when I see the crows to say, what is it that I need to know? Or I ask my angels and my animals, I feel, for me, work well together. If I'm not sure what I'm hearing and understanding around an animal showing up, then I'll go to my higher guidance, my higher self, my soul, and especially my angels. And another totem animal that I have is a hawk. Hawks show up. There's a bald eagle living near my house somewhere, and I have been trying to see this eagle and see him and see, and look. And the eagles, the hawks, especially the red-tailed hawks, show up for me instead. And the hawk is another messenger between 2 worlds. The messenger can bring you a message personally in my life of what I need to attend to, or something that's going to happen, or a journey that I must take. Years and years ago, when my mom was very ill, I had the sense that her time was coming closer, but she had been so ill, nobody really could tell that she was going down or what was going on. I just had another sense about that. So as she moved, I asked Spirit, can you show me a sign to help me prepare for what's to come, or don't surprise me. Of course, it's always a surprise when somebody becomes ill and transitions. And I was driving home from a conference in New York City. And as I was driving, I was with a friend of mine, and there was a hawk flew by, chased by a littler bird, a smaller bird, chased by another smaller bird. And it just, across the windshield, across the highway, these three birds flew, and the little birds were chasing the hawk. Probably it was a nesting thing. But as I looked at them, I felt like three, that something will transition in three. And I said, is it 3 years? Nope. Is it 3 months? No. Is it 3 days? No. So I said, well, okay, so I have to pay attention for 3 weeks from now. And that's when my mom passed. 3 weeks from that time, I saw the hawk with the two birds. So my hawk, acting as a totem animal, and my intuition connecting into what the message could be, helped me to prepare for the transition that was about to come. And the raven one time followed me I went for an hour and a half hike through the woods, and the raven was just hopping from tree to tree, just rah, 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 the whole way talking to me. And I couldn't really get what it was saying or what it wanted me to know. So I said, I don't understand, but I am ready to receive whenever you're ready to deliver the message clearly so I can understand it, and I will continue to listen. And so as I went through the hike with my dog at the time, and just kind of enjoyed the scenery while this raven called to me. And just as I was finishing up, coming off the trail, getting ready to load the dog up into the car and get in the car, I heard, somebody is ill and you need to act immediately when you see the complaint. You need to take action. You cannot wait. And I said, okay, I got that. So when I see something or when something occurs, I will not wait. So I got home covered with dirt, in shorts. The sun was going down. It was getting cooler. And my son came downstairs and said, I'm not feeling good. I think it's just bug bites. Maybe tomorrow I'll go to the doctor's. And I looked at him and I said, we're going now. And took him to, I found a clinic that was open. It was Sunday. That was going to close in an hour. We went right down to the clinic. And then through a series of events, the clinic sent us to the local hospital. Local hospital sent us to the big city, Boston hospital. And it had to be attended to, what was happening. And if I hadn't have heard that message from which I accept as my totem animal, I would not have taken action that quickly. And the doctor said, if you had waited any longer, we're not sure how this would have turned out. So I'm very grateful to my totem animals, to my animal communicators, to those in nature that are willing to talk to me as much as I'm willing to listen. And I recommend that you learn to do that, that go out into nature. Animals don't just show up in nature. It's funny, when you're just glued to the TV or you're kind of glued to your computer as you're working. Social media can bring an animal through, or your imagination can bring an animal through, or something can show up on a commercial, or somebody will just start talking about their animal or their pet cobra or something unusual. And that is like your shamanic journey, that is an animal showing up for you. So if this animal continues to show up in all these different forms, that means that animal is reaching out to you and has a message, or the qualities of that animal are something that you need, and they want to help you with their qualities. Like my friend with the duck and the wings, it's time to take off and soar. Or the loud raven speaking to me, I needed to speak up. Once I got into the situation, I needed to be the one to decide and speak up. For instance, let's see. So dreams are a way that the animals can show up for us, as well as nature, as well as any electronic things or conversations. And when that animal shows up, you may, that's just a mouse. What is a mouse going to do? Well, a mouse if you follow the teachings of Steve Farmer and Ted Andrews, it's the quality of the animal and what the animal is able to do. You can read the books and you can get what their meanings are, but as they're showing up for you, what are they saying to you as you sit down and quietly observe the mouse in your heart and in your eyes, and in your mind? So what does the mouse mean to me? Well, mice create homes everywhere. They create havoc. They chew on things. They can chew through wires, and it can bring the whole house down. Mice can also, they have beautiful families. Mice are very stealthy at stealing things and collecting things in the walls. But mice are, believe it or not, mice are fastidious. They're not the dirty animals we think they are. They're very fastidious in how they take care of their environment. It's their way of taking care of the environment, not ours, so we judge them. But also, a mouse is very works hard and continues and doesn't give up, keeps moving. And sometimes mice can be in the wrong place at the wrong time. So maybe that mouse needs to not be in the house, it needs to be out in the woods and build their home out in nature. So the mouse could be in the wrong place at the wrong time. So, what is happening in your life when you see the mouse that's showing up in your life? And what is it that you need to attend to? And what can the mice help you with? Maybe the mice need to say, keep at it, keep going, keep going. You will handle, you will solve this, or don't give up now can be. And then the stories of the mice, I can't remember the name of the story, but there was something was tied up in ropes. I don't know if it was a lion tied up in ropes, and he just nibbled and nibbled and nibbled until the animal could get free. But only the mouse could do it. The thorn in the lion's paw is also a story where only something small could remove that thorn from that lion's paw. So there's this great, powerful lion, and the only thing that can help him is this little humble servant. And that's also on the tarot cards, it's the strength card. Often the mouse is a beautiful woman and the lion is a lion, but it was originally a mouse. And so that's the humbleness of spirit animals, giving us wonderful stories and wonderful lessons. In the shamanic tradition that I studied with the Quechua people of Peru, there we were taught of the ruling animals for different energy centers in our body. Now, there can be a totem animal for each chakra that we have in your body, and each chakra can have an animal that's there to help you with your soul's journey, with your soul's lessons and your soul's learning. But going back to the Quechua people, in your belly, your lower three chakras is the snake or the lizard, and the teaching is that their bellies are on the earth so they could feel the vibration of what's happening around them on the earth, and they know what to do, they know what it is, they know the wisdom, and they're wordless and they don't have vocabulary, but they can give you that vibration into your belly where you can vibrate it up into your heart, which is the language center. So when those vibrations come into your belly and vibrate up towards your heart can understand what the messages are being delivered, or what the information is being delivered. Remember one time I sat on a very hot rock, and I was out in the desert, visiting the desert, and I closed my eyes and said, I wonder if I could feel the animals around me. There doesn't seem to be any animals, but I know there's lots. So I closed my eyes and sat on the rock and just felt the energy around me. And I said, oh, there's something exactly right behind me, about 5 feet up and a little bit over to the left. So I just sat there to make sure that I felt that energy. And then I slowly got up, turned around, and there was a tiny little lizard right behind me, a little bit over, 5 feet behind me, a little bit over to the left. And it was just sunning itself, very happy, very confident and fine being by me and letting me scan it. And that was a beautiful lesson for me to know that it's time for me to let the vibrations of the animals speak to me. Now, remember that really bad tsunami that happened? I don't have the year. I think it was 2006 or 7. Pardon me for not knowing this year, but it was in Thailand. and so many people passed from it. But if you read the accountings of it, not one animal was drowned, because when the water went way, way out, all the animals hit the high ground. They all knew from that vibration that they had to leave, that they had to go. But they didn't take the people with them, or the people didn't quite get it, or it wasn't enough time to move that many people. I don't know. Sometimes why we don't use our intuitions, but we don't. And that's a very powerful example of animals knowing the vibration of what's happening in the planet. And this is the other reason why I want you to connect with your animals, why I'm encouraging you. I asked my guides, what was I going to talk about tonight? And they said, you're going to talk about spirit animals. And the reason why is that it's time that we talk to the animals, the spirit animals, connect to them, so that we can understand what's happening in nature. There's a lot of things moving around in nature, as much as there's a lot of things moving around in our heads and our educational, political, and medical systems. There's lots of things happening in the planet around us, and we get so distracted with what our stuff is, we don't pay attention to the signs of the world stuff is, of the earth stuff is, of the weather. So the animals were asking me to invite my people to pay attention, to start talking to them, to start communicating with them, and let them guide them. So there was talking about the lizard belly and the vibrations coming up to the heart. Now the animal of the heart is the jaguar, or the panther, whatever, scary, female, cat-like, very strong, very fast, very big claws, is the animal totem of the heart. And what this animal does is rips us apart with its claws to get rid of all of the misplaced beliefs, the illusions, the things, the wounds that won't heal that we hold on to for dear life to identify with. And then once we are totally, those things are totally removed from us and we're totally wide open, then the jaguar will come in and gently put our hearts back together in a very loving, compassionate way, so that we are aligned with ourselves, our soul, and we're aligned with nature. It's a beautiful, beautiful teaching. I love this teaching. So when you are in dire straits and you feel like your world is getting ripped apart, don't be afraid. Relax and find where is the jaguar working in your life, and listen to the vibrations that are coming up from the earth, and where is the truth being revealed as the lies are being removed. So that's the animal to call on when your life is really falling apart, is the jaguar, to set things straight. Can you just make this quick and easy? Just remove what needs to be removed so that you can be lined up with nature. And then once your heart is clear, once your heart is seeing through truthful awareness, then the energy travels up to the head, to the third eye, where the condor or the eagle is. And that wisdom center sends the eagle out to find the truth, to find more of what I need to know right now. And as the eagle flies, it sees all, and it brings it back home to your wisdom center, to us, through the mind, to the wisdom center. The mind is the last one to know, and the mind is the computer, and what we ask it to do, it will do. The mind isn't the focal point of wisdom. It is not the rationale you think it is. It is simply a computer that, if you could shift the energy and how it flows, the energy flows up, the wisdom flows into the mind and says, find more resources in alignment with the wisdom that I know to be true right now. And let's align ourselves. Let's with the people that we are connecting with the places that we're going, and let's find more truth. And that is a beautiful animal. The condor is like the eagle in the South America. That's why they talk about the condor, but the eagle, or the hawk, for me, I think it feels like it's more of a hawk energy for me, that goes out and brings the information back to me that feeds into my wisdom center, and I can begin to sort it out. Remember, I can't really hear the animals. I really can't hear what they're saying. I have to feel it. in my heart and in my awareness, my different energy centers. You've got your clairs. We talked about this a few times. Your clairvoyance, your clear seeing to see the pictures, or your clairaudient to kind of hear the vibration, clairsentient to feel. Claircognizance comes in and just like, I just know. I just know that this is what it's meant to be, or this is what is being said. And so I do this work with people all the time in my Angelscapes mentorships. I am here to be a guide, to help you find your guides. Kind of funny like that. And if I can help you in any of this, I would love to bring you online if you want to have any conversations with me. Feel free. I have a discovery session where we could talk more about what I have to offer and what you need to open up to your spirit guidance, your animal guidance. And I would love to help you out. So angelscapes.net is where I am. And I work with the Akashic Records. We could talk a little bit about the animals in the Akashic realm, the Akashic Records. And I can help you find that truth through the Akashic Records as well. So how the spirit animals are here to help you. One important spirit animal is the pig. I love the pig. The pig is another fastidious, clean animal. Its favorite habitat is in the mud, so we'd never think of it as being clean. And so the properties of the pig or the boar can be very helpful to many of you. When this is the animal who is very strong. It's a very powerful animal. It knows how to luxuriate. It knows how to enjoy itself, but it also can forage really very well when it's in its wild form through the woods. And the pig can be very dogmatic, and it can bring fear up in people who are in your way. So if sometimes you need to get through people, or to get through the blocks that are people formed, pig energy could actually be very helpful. We judge the pig as being lazy and sloppy and will eat anything and just doesn't do much for itself. So if you feel like you're being judged or misunderstood and misjudged, maybe the pig energy can come forward and help you understand that, and help you appreciate yourself, appreciate what your gifts are. The dogs and wolves are very popular. People love cats and dogs as pets. Birds, fish are very loyal. The dogs are very loyal. Where a wolf can have that loyalty as well, and the dog can have wolf energy. The wolves are very pack oriented, so are dogs, to be part of the family. And you could have an alpha male, you can have an omega male, or omega wolf. You have the dreamer in the wolf pack, you have the leader, and you have the followers in the wolf pack. And sometimes when wolf comes into your life, it's time for you to understand where you are in the pecking order of things, where maybe you're hanging out as part of the follower, but you're really the dreamer, or you're really the way shower. The leader of the pack can be strong and stubborn and very scary and power over kind of thing. But if the leader of the pack doesn't have a way shower, an omega or a dreamer, the leader doesn't know where to go, because the leader doesn't necessarily hold all of that going forward energy. The leader needs to have its partner, and otherwise it will not be able to take the pack to the best hunting grounds, or lead the pack to the best place forward. Or actually, sometimes a leader has to say, this pack's getting too big, you need to go off and find your own way. The leader cannot make these the leaders know a lot, but they don't know everything. And so the wolf pack can teach us what we need to have in our lives in terms of leadership and power, structure, but also know when to be the helpful person, know when to be the support person, and also know when to dream and know when to look at the paths forward and smell what's in the air and discern what's in the air and determine where to go. So the wolf has many, many messages to give us. The vulture has a very powerful message. If you're really into recycling and reusing and repurposing things, vulture energy is a very important energy for you to observe and look at. If you're trying to repurpose something that won't be repurposed, you can ask the vulture animal to help you because vultures are very, they use everything and they're not picky and they're very, so I would say they pick those bones clean. So I would say if you're having a struggle with resources, vulture energy is also a very good energy to bring forward. Sometimes we always feel like I need a power animal, I need this big animal, I need a bear, or I need a lion, or I need a panther, I need this. And I feel that be careful what you ask for, first of all, because if you think you need a jaguar, guess what's going to happen? We just talked about the heart being ripped open. But if you feel like you need a power animal to move you through something, call in the animals and ask, who can help me with this? I need to carry this big weight over across a long way, and I need to not give up, and I'm not sure I can do it by my own. How about the ant energy? Ant-Man was a very important character in Marvel. But the ant is a very powerful, strong animal, and it works as team. The ants work together. And that there's a lot of lessons and a lot of energy with that. I could just talk about animals all night. Squirrels are amazing. They just busy, pick things up and hide them and pick things up and hide them. They forget where they hide them because I think squirrels need to pair up with somebody else, but maybe the woodpecker or the nuthatch. Nuthatch is one of my favorite birds. I love a lot of birds. I think I love all the birds, but nuthatch, I wrote a book about nuthatch called Make a Magic Wish. It's on Amazon. It's about a nuthatch. Nuthatch is a sacred, it's considered a sacred bird because it can walk down the tree as much as it can walk up the tree. So the nuthatch is known to be able to go again across the veil as it goes down into the lower earth and comes up. And the nuthatch, like the squirrel, hides its seed in the bark of the tree. It also has its nest usually in a hole in the tree. But the nuthatch remembers where it left its seed. So the nuthatch is resourceful and the nuthatch remembers. So that's a beautiful totem animal to have. Elephant was showing up a few years ago, and I think the elephant still shows up. And the elephant never forgets. An elephant trods on. An elephant can feel very awkward, but an elephant is very gentle. If you ever see the trunk of an elephant, just very gently moving through that trunk, through those two little fingers. I had the elephant was showing up and I was listening to it and talking to it and I was having kind of fun with it. And then the elephant revealed itself as Ganesh. So there was this beautiful revelation of a deity from an animal, which was terrific. And animals and deities go together. Bridget and the rabbits are very close. So we've talked to you a little bit about the symbolism within these animals. The bear is introspection and strength and solitude, but the bear also, because of my dreams and my experiences, was about family, was about loyalty. You would think that was the dog, but this was about coming together in a clan, the bear clan. And the bear is very much about healing. Bear medicine is big. An owl. We had some owls show up in our backyard. I was so excited seeing the truth, wisdom. The owl's about death and rebirth. But an owl has this strength and beauty with it. When the owls showed up in our yard, all the birds, the robins, the blue jays were up just dive bombing it. And you could see the owl kind of shake off the hit. And eventually the two owls, they were roosting, I think, and they took off. They flew off. And I was like, oh my gosh, I wish they would have stayed and made a home here. But an owl, there are many different kinds of owls and they bring many different kinds of gifts. They fly at night, they can see clearly, and they have really good night vision, and they are very, again, fastidious. If you ever see an owl ball, an owl will grab a mouse, for instance, and eat the mouse as its sustenance, and then it will wrap the fur. I don't know how they do, wrap the bones in the fur, or the bones are inside the fur and make a little ball. So you see these pellets, little fur pellets on the forest floor, and that's the owl's lunch or dinner. And then we go into the insect world a little bit, where we see the butterflies, which is that huge transformation, the butterfly energy. As the energy of transformation starts as a caterpillar. And I was listening to a talk with Pam Gregory. She was talking about, she had just kind of found out some biology. I'm not sure as secondhand, but the energy of the caterpillar tries to force the cells of the butterfly down so it doesn't have this big change, but the butterfly cells keep insisting on the change, and it rises up within the caterpillar until the caterpillar is compelled to make its cocoon, so that the butterfly can do the transformation. It surrenders into the transformation that it must go into. And I feel like that's a really good message to us humanity wise right now. As we go through changes, we are on the pathway in our humanity to make huge transformational changes. And just like the jaguar it rips apart our heart, so our lives are being, and our systems are being ripped apart. And the only surrender is into this butterfly energy, where things must break down before they can come into their next transformation. And I feel like we're in that, the next few years, we're in that energy. And this is why I think the animals are talking to us to reconnect with them, so that they can support us in our transformation and in our journey. So we, are taking the paths that benefit us the most. And we can learn about nature, learn about what nature is trying to teach us, but also we need to learn to be in relationship with nature. We need to learn to be in relationship with all the living things around us, plants and the dirt, the rocks, the earth, the animals, all of it. So that as we are in relationship, as we go through our changes, the nature can support us to go through those changes, rather than we're constantly at war with each other. But just like the caterpillar cells and the butterfly cells are fighting each other, and the butterfly cells have to get stronger and stronger so that it can complete the transformation. So our inner knowing, our inner selves, our inner spirit are getting stronger and stronger as our fears just fight against these big changes that are inevitable, that they do need to happen. And sometimes changes come out first as chaos, and all the things we don't want show up in front of our faces first, until we realize that's not working, and that falls away. And then we move forward to what needs to happen. So your animal guides can teach you how to live in right relationship with the earth, but your animal guides also can teach you how to make the changes that you need within yourself, so that you can live in right relationship with the earth, and so that we can do the transformation work that we need to do. So I think it's funny. I'm still talking about what animals teach us. So if you get a turtle shows up in your life, and I had a couple turtles actually show up for me over the weekend, and I have to laugh at that, because now that I think about it, because there was my neighbor has a turtle, so we were talking about the turtle, and then I saw a turtle on some commercial, and then I saw a nature show was all about turtles, and I said, "Oh, the turtles!" Now that I'm talking to you about it, honestly, it's about slowing down. It's about slowing down. Turtles are always about wisdom. Turtles are very ancient, and there's a tremendous amount of stories about the turtle. Native American call the earth, or the land that we live in. It's Mother Turtle. It's the turtle that holds us in our land. Because the turtle in the mythology went down to the ocean. There was only ocean, and they were so tired of treading water, and there's no place for anyone to go. And the star maiden was falling from heaven. They said, we need to make a place for this beautiful star maiden. She'll just fall into the water. The turtle went way down into underneath the ocean and brought up enough dirt, enough earth, so that there was an island for the star maiden to land on. It's a beautiful story. Native American mythology is amazing. If you go back and read it and study it, it talks a lot about truths about our lives. So and we can actually, as if you want to go and read some of the mythology, talk to the animals. What does this mean? What does this tell me about me being human? I was at a party this weekend, and I was cracking up because I was thinking I'm going to do animal totems, and I'm going to talk about this, and what should I say? And this woman comes with this T-shirt on. It was a Hispanic movie star who she adores. I can't remember his name. And she goes, "This is my totem animal." She goes, "Because he makes me laugh and he's so strong and it helps me feel strong." And I started laughing. I said, "Well, that's another sign that I'm to talk about animal totems or spirit animal guides today." But I never thought of a human being as being an animal totem. So play with that one for a little bit. Let's see, what else was I wanting to talk to you about tonight? I talked a little bit about we can have dreams. I started this whole thing with I was dreaming about the bears, and the bears, what they meant to me, and they repeated themselves in the dreams. What's repeating in your dream? What's coming to you on a regular basis? Could be what's bugging you. Maybe it's a bunch of bugs. Maybe it's the ants are coming and they're saying, "Come on, we gotta move together. We have a lot to work to do here. Let's start working together," or something like that. And another way of connecting to animals, and some Maria just reminded me of that, is through there's a lot of totem animal card decks out there, tons of them, and you can use a card deck to mix them up and just pick what's the animal of the day and what is the message for the day. I find that very powerful. I was going to bring one here and talk to you and pick some cards, but I thought, no, we're just going to talk straight about animals. And they can have beautiful, beautiful messages. For instance, the spider. And I tell you what, when I lived at my other house, I'm in a new house now, there are spiders everywhere. And the spiders were about the stories that we weave and tell. And while the theme of when I was living in Haverhill was about telling my story, about speaking the truth, about learning different ways of communicating so that people could hear me and understand the messages that spirit had to say through me. So spiders were all over my house, and I'm not big on spraying things, so we just lived together as harmoniously as we possibly could. And I learned about weaving the web of the spider. It's not that it's a lie, it's about the energies of the silk. So it's the energies about what it can hold. So there was a lot of learning, totem learning from those spiders. Ugh, who likes spiders? But I had to learn to like them. So your animal guide is like a mirror to you, showing you your gifts, your fears, and your becoming. So an animal guide might show up and show you what you're afraid of first before it shows you its wisdom. A pet may come into your life, and this pet may be a true pain in the patooties and give you grief from one end of the house to the other, where you have to say, what is this animal telling me? Because our animals, they find us. We think we found them, they find us, and we take care of them and we feed them, and then they show you us what the deal is. So maybe the animal doesn't want to get potty trained, and it needs to go, learn to be trained to go outside. And maybe there's something in your life where you're not taking care of your own shit, kind of thing. Or maybe the animal is constantly interrupting you and you're a workaholic. So the animal is taking you out of that workaholic, sitting at the desk or sitting in front of the computer and never moving, and the animal's breaking that. Or I heard a woman talk about this she had the goofiest little dog ever, and he was teaching her to have a sense of humor because she took things very seriously, and he made her laugh. And then she realized, this animal's teaching me how to laugh, teaching me how to laugh at my life. The animal guides, they don't flatter us. They don't come in and say, "Oh, honey, that's okay. You're so wonderful." They don't do that. They come in and tell us the truth. So if you have a cat, I had 3 cats, and we had them from kittens. The mom got hit by a car. It was really sad. So we had these 3 surviving kittens, and we gave 2 of them away. So all 5 of them did survive. And they started peeing on the oven, the stove. It was awful. And oh my God, it was awful. I didn't know they had peed until I turned it on. And I'm like, oh my God, I think the animals got to this. And they had bladder infections, and I had to take care of them. And there was a message in there about taking care of myself, slowing down. You're moving these heavy weights around. I was a single mom. My kids were pretty little at the time, and that said volumes to me about slowing down and taking care of everyone, making sure everyone had what they needed. I had to change the waters. The water, I think that they had, the water was calcified. There was something about, it was messing with their kidneys and stuff, so we had to do something about that. But paying attention to the details in my life, not just moving forward and you can't do anything about it. There was lots of things I could do in my life to make things healthier for myself and the kids. And those animals were teaching me that. And so there was a mirror, stinky mirror, but it was a mirror. And these animals are going to push you into becoming the best that you can be. I love working with the hawk. And another way of looking at the hawk is the hawk helps you rise above your clutter. I think that that's a really wise thing to do sometimes, and maybe sometimes we need to see the clutter so we can move it out. We don't even see our environment around us until we get a bird's eye view and say, oh, that is what I don't want to live like that. Oh, golly. And snake energy, which I talked about, the belly energy is so important to feel the vibrations of life and let them speak to us, to the wisdom of our heart. Sometimes the snake sheds. Many snakes shed, and as they shed, they're shedding what no longer serves them, which is the skin that's too small. But also when a snake is shedding, the skin is going over its eyes and it's blind for a while. It's very vulnerable. So the snake talks about the vulnerability of change, and to be aware of the vulnerability when we decide to make a change or we're going through a natural change. What can we do around ourselves to keep ourselves safe and to keep ourselves nurtured as we go through these changes, not just white knuckle through them, but maybe pull a community around us to help us. So yes, too, your pets are spirit guides, and they come, they do go to heaven. Their spirits do transition to the other side so they can communicate back with us and tell us what they've learned from us and what we're meant to learn from them. But they also can still help us through our lives and talk to us and show up in our dreams and help us with that truthful guidance that they had started all those years ago. I've had many clients experience this kind of guidance, and I've seen it in readings and in dreams. And I've when I open the records, I've seen animals speak clearly. As a matter of fact, you can go. There's a place in the records, a house. It's not a house. It's kind of a place. It's like a jungle. It's like where all of nature is born, where all of nature exists. Nature exists throughout all of the records, but you can go to the jungle, you can go to the forests, or you can talk to the animals. When I talked about the shamanic journey I was on, and I went to the underworld, that was the Akashic Records. That was the place of energy and spirit talking, and they can be tremendously helpful. And they still have all of their abilities, the wings and the beaks and the claws, that can help us. And they're living in on the spirit side, the spirit world. I was reminded of a story I wanted to tell you. I did a mediumship reading for a friend who had lost her husband. And as I was connecting to him, I kind of saw him and I described him, but then I said, but I keep hearing this dog barking. And when he passed, the dog was right there when he was passed. The dog kept barking and barking at him until he realized that he had passed. And then, because the dog was his childhood dog, the dog was there taking him to the other side. And that was the message that I had from Spirit, is his dog was there, and I described him correctly. I think he was a border collie, and brought him to the other side because he didn't quite get what it was a quick passing, and he didn't quite get what was going on. And so it was lovely to know that this man, this gentleman's dog from childhood, had been waiting for him to help him cross over. It was just beautiful. So that's the other piece, that our pets and our animals help us to do what we need to do in our lives, including our spiritual lives. So I'd love for you to now connect, and I'm challenging you now to kind of connect to your animals. If you can go on a shamanic journey, maybe find a recording of some rattles and just intend that you journey and find your animal. Or you could do it the natural way, is just observe what's around you and see what's showing up for you. Robins have been showing up a lot for me, and blue jays. And this little tiny chipmunk has been running back and forth in my yard. And he looks like a pest, but I don't want to treat him like a pest. I want to kind of see, what are you showing me? He's busy here, busy at this side of the yard, then busy at the other side of the yard, and then running around for this and that. And he started chewing out my lily bulbs. I wasn't really thrilled about that. So I have to take better care of the things that I value. And that's one of the messages that I got. But what's showing up in your life, and how is it showing up in your life? And when a specific animal repeats, what are the properties of the animal? Maybe ask, what are you telling me? But then take a look at what's happening in your life. How would those properties help you either show you the truth, or there's a gift that an ability that the animal has that will really help you in what you're trying to accomplish right now? Or maybe there's some wisdom that you need to get through your thick head, and you need to kind of consider a new perspective from this animal. And so what does the animal, ask yourself these 3 questions. What does the animal mean to me? What was I thinking when it appeared? What was I doing? Where's my life when it appeared? And how did I feel in its presence? Was I comfortable? Was I scared? Like I was scared of the bears until I accepted them, and then they made me laugh. Were you angry? Were you annoyed? Oh, it's just a little rodent running around. Give me a break. And so you're dismissing the small things in life that could actually change your life, that kind of thing. So let the answers come slowly. Don't rush into thinking you understand what this means. Let it occur to you over time. And listen first, Google last, and see where you are in your life and where you're being guided. There are a lot of changes coming forward. As you all can see that, you all can recognize these changes on so many levels. And these spirit animals, these totem animals, want to appear and help you. And if you're having trouble somewhere physically in your life, see what chakra it's related to, and see what animal can come and help you to transform and heal that chakra, so that you can have a better time of it, so you can understand what's going on with yourself. So for now, I want to remind you that I'm at angelscapes.net, and that I'm available to do this Akashic shamanic work with you if you'd like some help with it. We're not meant to do it alone. Your animals are surrounding you, spirit animals as well as animals in nature that are real, trying to bring you forward, trying to help you on your path. And they've always been there. So recognize them. If you want to have a session with me, angelscapes.net, book a session or book a discovery session. I can talk to you about how we can work together, or just get a one-off reading and find out we can work on who are the animals in your life right now helping you. So for now, I want you to enjoy your life, be sensitive toward your life, nurture yourself, of course, stay safe, but go look for the animals and see what they have to say. And that's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you for joining the Angelscapes podcast. We hope you've gained new insights and inspiration for your journey to uncover and access your soul's power. For more information and a deeper dive into finding clarity in your life, go to angelscapes.com. Remember to subscribe so you can be part of the discussion. It may just change your life. See you next time.